Do you know Zhiyun is making lights? And they're like, kind of amazing? Today's video is brought to you by Zhiyun, the makers of the new Molus X100 and G60 lights. You can come in now. You could just come in now. We really scripted that nicely. All right, come on in. We are here trying to shoot an intro shot to this video. I'm guessing you already saw it before me, really, so that's pretty cool. Right before we dive into that making of section, I wanted to let you know what's in store for you in this video. So primarily, this is a product showcase of Zhiyun's new Molus X100, which is my key light. You can't see it there. Here, and the Molus G60, which is doing a little motivated kicker lighting back here. And so with that in mind, I want to show you how I use these lights, both in studio with some larger Bowens mount modifiers, as well as out in the field, packed into a small backpack. And then, yeah, we got that making of at the beginning, so I hope you love it. Like, I think this is a really fun video, and I know this is sponsored, so it's probably hard for you to believe, but like, I really love these lights. Big fan. I tried some test runs of this shoot the other day, and they didn't work, so I figured pressure of a camera, maybe we'll be on to something. Follow me. This is the office, studio tour video incoming very soon. This is kind of like our warehouse, and I want to show you the shot that I have in mind. You saw it at the beginning. That doesn't make sense. Here, come on back here. Movie magic. Okay, so the idea that I had was to have the camera push through this little shelving storage unit here. And at first we would see the two boxes for the two different Molus lights. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna grab them or what, but the camera's gonna push through here and then ultimately end with some kind of nice looking backdrop here with me in it. So basically we have two different compositions we need to plan for and light for, and a camera movement that's gonna tie the two together. Before I show you how we lit those two shots and tied them together, let's talk about the lights themselves. So the Molus X100 and G60 have a lot in common, and then they have a few distinctions between them. Both of these lights are bicolor COB lights. That stands for chip on board, which basically means it's a very small point source light that is super bright and can go between like 2700 Kelvin and 6500 Kelvin. So really warm, really cool light, so you can match your light temperatures or create a bit of color contrast between them. The benefit of using point source lights like this is that you can choose the kind of light you're after. You can use them direct or through a reflector to create nice hard shadows and really contrasty lighting, or you can blast them through some diffusion like a softbox or bounce them off of a wall in order to create nice flattering soft light. Where these two lights differ are going to be in power output, so how bright they can get, and then in the form factor themselves.
Light here is like I'd say like really bad.
Lighting. Yeah, there was two problems that we ran into. The first is that the slide pod doesn't travel a far enough distance in order to get a nice composition on this side of the shelf, and then push all the way through in order to get a nice composition on the other side of the shelf of that shelving unit. The other problem that we had is that this shelving unit basically lines up exactly with the center of the container, and we are gonna want the camera to end more or less here. The first problem we're gonna have to solve is moving the shelving unit right here into the center. And the second thing we're gonna need to do is set up a dolly track back here, which is gonna involve moving just everything. Let's do a time lapse because this would be really boring for everyone.
Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really what it is, but you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them tight, you in love with being modest. You a move body giving center views. I'm just saying I'm amused, but you ain't even flexing. And you cool, tatted up, cover wounds, different vibe, you know improved, but you ain't even flexing.
Now that we have thoroughly destroyed the space and turned it into something that I think is ready to shoot, I'm gonna need that camera to see how things went. So, Dave, get a new camera. Sick. The legs are fully tilted forward because we needed to get the camera as far ahead of this as possible. And when I crank this, the camera's gonna start pushing in automatically, and it's gonna push right through here. And right when the camera fills the frame with those two Zhiyun boxes, we're gonna be able to grab them, push these to the side. The camera will keep pushing through, and then ideally, we'll end with a frame that looks kind of close to what we want. I'm expecting to have to crop this just because we're on a 14mm here to really make the push-in feel like hyper pushy. So now we have to start figuring out lighting in our first composition and our second. I think the most important thing we can do here is, there we go, that looks good. Nope, okie doke. So in order to light the boxes, we're gonna start here with the new Molus 60 watt light. This is the coolest light of my entire life. I'm honestly obsessed with it. I use it for my Zoom calls. I use it to meet with my coach. Part of what makes our setup a little bit unique is that we're in a shipping container, which means we have metal everywhere, which means we have magnets everywhere. So what we have the benefit of doing is just putting the light on these little selfie sticks. Adjust the yoke here. And then I can just stick it to the ceiling and do this. Adjust the height. And we don't even need stands for these lights in here because these things weigh basically nothing. They're so small that you can just like have them mounted with magnets. The next thing that I find amazing about them is that we can power them off of USB-C. What I love about having like a USB-C power option is that it makes these lights super approachable, because even if you've never worked in film and had to deal with V-mount, do we have any V-mount? You can get a USB battery bank off of Amazon for like no money at all and use just a standard USB cable to plug it in. I want to show you the coolest thing we accidentally discovered today. This is our magnet wall. It's kind of chaos right now, but I have this little Mob Armor like beverage cozy here that I keep sunglasses in when I get here. And has built-in magnets, which is great, but look how sweet this is. It's just big enough for this battery. Stuff the battery into the koozie, and now watch. This is honestly a big deal for the way I work. Not having to have C-stands and sandbags and everything in here all the time makes such a huge difference. So both of these lights use Zhiyun's new, I think it's called the ZY or ZY mount. So it's not a Bowens mount. And I really like that. I'm gonna tell you why. So if I pop this off, this is their tiny little softbox, which is like just the cutest thing you've ever seen. This is so much smaller than a standard Bowens mount light modifier. They do make a Bowens mount adapter for these lights, so you can just put that on, put it on your light stand, and put whatever giant or small light modifier you have onto it. But I find having the smaller size of this makes packing so much easier. Normally, when I'm packing softboxes, no matter how small they are, if they have a Bowens mount, they're gonna be that big in the bag versus this. So this means you can slide this into random spots in your bag versus having to take that middle ring off of your, softboxes or whatever and put them into odd places. Love the small size, but love the flexibility of being able to put our other Bowens mount modifiers on this. So I've got the grid on here, and the goal here basically is to use that grid to just get a little pocket of light onto our boxes here that we're gonna be pushing through, because they're kind of the first hero, I would say, of this shot. We've got this really cool look right now because everything on the shelf is like either black or gray, but then we have this like just pop of light right here on these two bright gray cases. We're gonna keep one of these tube lights overhead just to give some shape to the Molus X100 here when it comes in. And so the light's gonna be backlit by itself here. So you can have a nice warm glow of itself, but we kind of want to keep this one light on just a little bit in order to give some reflections and shape to the product itself. And then behind these cases, what we see is like a nice warm orange glow behind them that's being lit by the Molus X100. I just realized that I packed a bag that has no water bottle pockets or tripod holders or like any external carrier of any kind. So while I did get my camera, audio, lights, laptop, like, man, wireless mics, shotgun, hard drives, chargers, batteries, so many things, little softbox, reflectors, I didn't end up getting this light stand strapped to the outside. Scratch that. I found a way to strap it onto the back, so we're good. Now let's go visit family. So the G60 is a 60-watt bicolor light, and it's about the size of a Rubik's Cube and has a built-in yoke mount. The X100, on the other hand, is a 100-watt bicolor light. So that's, I don't know, 40% brighter, I suppose, but its form factor is completely different. The light itself is about the size of a large cell phone and maybe slightly thicker. The X100 can be powered by its included power source or, again, USB Type-C with power delivery. But what makes this light interesting is that you can purchase it as a package with an included battery grip. And what I love about this is that it gives you this really nice handheld device that's giving you the full 100 watts of output between that warm and cool light. We're here now. We're up at my in-laws' place. This is a nice little workshop they've got in the back. And this is my father-in-law's yellow hat. He really wanted you to know that. This is his hat. It turned out to be very cold, very snowy, and very windy up here. Normally, when I would come somewhere like this, I probably wouldn't bring lights. I would just try and find an area like this where I can have some kind of shelter from harsh light and then some nice directional light coming in from the side. And if you were to shoot a shot like this, like, I don't know, it's fine, but now I want to show you the difference that just these two lights make. And to be clear, they both fit in this like little, I think it's a drone bag. So I'm gonna turn these on and we'll see the difference. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So here we are, and it hasn't changed the lighting dramatically in that it doesn't suddenly feel like I'm in a studio or something like that. But by adding this little top light, I'm able to get a bit more background separation. And by putting the space light and the X100 off to my right, the lighting is motivated by the sky and the actual natural light that's coming in. But now it's wrapping around the front of my face a lot more and feels less bad and more good. Genuinely, I love these lights. I am a big fan of them. They're kind of the only things I use now, unless I'm gonna be battling direct sunlight or trying to shoot this through like a really large book light type scenario or an 8x diffusion. These are now my go-to for 90+% of my lighting because they're small and light and easy and bright and bicolor and USB powered.